Hi, good morning. I'm Dr. Ben Newman. I am a coronavirus molecular biologist. I've been studying these things for 24 years, and I'm here to answer whatever questions you've got. All right, so today's first question is from Tammy. Good morning, Tammy. Good morning again, Tammy. Okay, so hi, Dr. Ben. This one is circulating around, notably from the anti vaxxer bunch. They're saying that if you get a flu vaccine, that makes you more susceptible to contracting COVID-19. Yeah, I don't even know how that would work, but okay. How can I best refute their creative extrapolations? Thanks in advance. And then there's a link to a paper down there, which is actually a very nice one. It shows that it's from, I think, Department of Defense, if I remember right. And they look at around 3,000 people who have had the flu vaccine, and they compare their odds for getting the flu that year when they had the flu vaccine, and they're much lower because the flu vaccine works against flu. And they compare their odds of getting all the other viruses, and their odds ratio ends up like 0.97 to 1.06 or something like that. So it ends up at 1, which means your odds of getting another virus are exactly the same as they were if you didn't get the flu vaccine, because the flu vaccine only protects against one thing, which is the flu. This is why when people are going after these kind of way outside the box, I can't even see the box from here kind of vaccines like the BCG bacterial vaccine, hoping that that will protect against COVID. This is where my skepticism comes from. Vaccines don't normally work this way. That doesn't mean they can't. It doesn't mean it's all completely bogus. It just means that the odds are really, 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 really stacked against it, unless there's something very specific going on that happens to be very general. Anyway, your actual question is, what do you say to what do you say to these people? I think there are a couple ways to address this. One is that these are probably not people that are going to be convinced by science or facts. These are people that are reacting to an emotion, and they're reacting to what people around them are saying. It's fear, it's not knowing. I mean, if you want to, I don't know, be a jerk, yeah, but also kind of make a point, you could say, okay, can you name 3 proteins from coronavirus, and can you name 3 proteins from influenza virus? And those, if you know anything about the virus, those are pretty easy questions. And if you don't know anything about the virus, except that you've heard something about how the vaccine is bad, then yeah, it falls apart. But annoying people like that is not going to get them on your side. For the most part, it might work on, I don't know, 1 out of 100, but yeah, the other 99 are just going to be mad at you and say, fine, it's evidence you're part of the global elite, which is really big. Wow, it's huge. Yeah, the Illuminati is like, I don't know, 2/3 of everyone now, I think. Maybe more in some countries. Yeah, crazy, crazy. Yeah. Their membership dues money alone must be just amazing. Yeah, but fine. Yeah. So I think rather than trying to sort of pave over it with actual facts and data and stuff, yeah, because they're probably not going to be moved by facts or data. You talk to them about what are their fears, where's this coming from, and where would you hear that from, and I don't know, have them talk to me, or have them talk to somebody that knows what they're doing and can kind of explain it. They probably have questions that haven't ever been answered, and yeah, it's they're not just gonna say, "Oh, these are the 3 questions I have that make me, hate all vaccines," but they're in there, and it's kind of like a therapy session, I guess. But that's probably, I don't know, that's the best explanation I've heard for how to get through to people. And again, if I was a politician, I would probably have much better strategies and theories, thankfully, or whatever. Yeah. I would not do well in that arena, I don't think. So that's fine. Yeah. Leave the convincing people to people who enjoy that sort of thing. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There's no real way that the flu, yeah, like A lot of people, all right, another way to look at it, maybe this would work, maybe this explanation will work. So a lot of people think of the immune system as one thing. They think of like a central computer and a bunch of little, maybe almost like robotic cells. And the central computer says, flu infection, number 7, 5, and 23. You go out and deal with it because you're ready. You've got the power. Yeah. And it's not like that. It's a process where each cell is kind of reacting on its own. And there's a little bit of kind of limited communication. And the communication is just spewing out a chemical or a protein around the cell and hoping that somebody else picks that up. It's just like Hansel and Gretel, just like dumping breadcrumbs all around saying, good enough. I've left my message. Everything's going to be fine. It kind of works, yeah, but not infallibly, and there's no central control whatsoever, which is, in a way, terrifying. You would say, how can this thing work? This works because you have an incredible number of cells, something like 10 to the 10th, which is what, 10 billion-ish? Yeah, I think that's right, that are little independent agents, little 007s that are out there trying to figure it out on their own and make a response. And most of them are totally ineffective. But when you get a couple that are effective, then they can multiply because they get a little reward back. There are other cells that just reward them if it turns out they've killed something that was bad, that this other cell is also detected. And so this kind of a feedback loop that leads to more cells. So yeah, it's a bunch of little independent operators with no central control, which is why your immune system only exists as a concept up here. What you have are individual cells doing the best that their genes and programming and signals will allow them to do. Not the best, like the only thing. Yeah, they don't know good versus bad. And yeah, thank goodness we have enough of them that usually it works. But so there's no way for a cell to know that another cell somewhere else in the entire body, which is huge compared to a cell, has seen or not seen some other vaccine. It's just, yeah, they don't get together for that meeting. They don't. Even when they bump into each other, that is not the communication that they can send. There's no way for them to really do that. Yeah. So, yeah, that's why it doesn't make sense. But I think it's coming from an emotional place, and I bet you've got to address that side because it's coming from an I care about my kids. I don't trust various people around me who I don't understand and who have maybe done bad things in the past. And that's also a very human, kind of normal seeming reaction to the world. And so, yeah, I get that. It's just, it doesn't help. It isn't going to protect anybody. And so today, we just found out that we've had the first confirmed reinfection with coronavirus. And this is from the University of Hong Kong. It was out of Hong Kong. And they put it out in a press release on Twitter. But I think they also put out a real press release that you can Google up as well. And I forget exactly how many months, whether it's like 3 months or 4 months between first infection and second infection. But it's pretty quick. And so this shows what can happen. And yeah, what is going to happen elsewhere. It may have already happened once or twice, but the way that they were able to tell is just like I was explaining before. They had taken a complete genome sequence from the first time this person was infected, and they took a complete genome sequence from the second time they were infected, and the two are not closely related viruses. The one is just like the viruses that are going around at that time, and the other one is just like the viruses that are going around at that time, and there's not a good path why this would have turned into that inside that person. So that's as good a set of scientific evidence as you're going to get for reinfection. And so now we can say, yeah, it does happen. This thing that we said is almost certainly going to happen does happen now. So good. Yeah. Hooray for science and boo for humanity because we're in trouble. We are in real trouble. So there we go. Thanks very much. This has been Ask Dr. Ben.